welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk about saving your model or diagrams as images. I'm sure many of you have been in a place where you're building an image for a particular conversation, documentation, or use in another form, and you want to be able to save the image to be able to get to that conversation, that subject matter very quickly. So we're going to bring up a couple of images that we're going to save. Let's see here. These are fine right here. So let's go with these. Hey, before we get started, let's talk about how you can save images like you see here on the screen to a destination file folder. All right, there's multiple ways, at least three. The first one is you go to Publish. In the diagram group, you go to Save, and you select Save to File. If you mouse over, you can see it tells you the shortcut is Control-T. We're just going to select this, and it goes to the destination folder where you want to save your images. Now, the factory install starts with a bitmap, BMP file. And BMP stands for bitmap image file. And these are extremely large. And I recommend not using BMP, but instead use PNG. And your PNG file it's been around for quite a few years. It's portable network graphics, PNG. And it is best used for its, I want to say, lossless image compression, if I remember that correctly, meaning the image quality remains intact when saved. The other option is JPEG or JPG, which is Joint Photographic Expert Group. And this one, it was used a lot, especially in web, next to GIF, GIF, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Your GIF file is your graphics interchange format. But let's go ahead and save these under those different types. So we're going to first use this one again, save image, and here move away from BMP, and you can see you've got PNG, you've got JPEG, you've got Targa, you've got GIF, you've got SVG, which we'll talk about near the end, and I'm not going to talk about EMF. Don't use it. Very, very old Microsoft form, but we're not interested, right? So we're going to save this as a PNG. Now, it remembers the last one you saved, the last type you saved. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. Let's go ahead and step on the one that's there. All right. Let's save another one. This time we're going to use Control-T, right? And it brings up the same save as window for graphic. You see this? It remembers the last type used. And we're going to change this to JPEG, right? And we're going to go ahead and save it. And there you go. That's saved. We're going to try another approach. I was going to hit Control-T again, but I'm just going to do one more. You can always use the Find Command option up here. And we're just going to type in Save Image. And you can see here, you get an option here for Save Image. And then you can get to it this way, all right? And this one, let's go ahead and save this as a GIF file, right? And there we go. These are saved. Let's now go to where we save our images. In the main folder, this is just a tip or trick. You can put a link in here to your repository, all right? So depending on what tooling you're using, if you go to Common Elements, you see you've got something here called hyperlink. And when you bring it in, you can define that hyperlink, and in this case, it's going to the source. You name the hyperlink on your page as an alias, and then you can describe it if you want, all right? Let's just go ahead and double-click it. It takes us to our shared folder for this particular project. In here, we've got something called Images, and we have some images here which we can save, right? So let's go in here, Solution Analysis, Building Blocks, and let's just look at what we saved, right? Now, I'm going to sort them this way, and we're going to look at the building blocks. Look at the size of this solution building block bump file, BMP file. It's 2.5 megabytes. The same as a GIF, 36 kilobytes. There's a JPEG, 71 kilobytes, and there's a PNG, 43 kilobytes, right? So I always save my files as PNG files, or I save them as JPEG files. Those are the only two type of files that I usually will collect when I'm building an offline repository for my model images or other images. Now let's save this same file as an SVG, which stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. And this is an XML-based file format used to describe two-dimensional vector graphics. And so we're going to hit Control-T, try it again, Control-T, and this time we're going to choose SVG file type. And it's going to go ahead and save it. And there we go. Let's take a look at it. Now you can use any SVG graphics platform that you want. We're just going to use Explorer. So we're going to double click on this one and it's going to open it up. The cool thing about SVG files is that when you're zooming in, it maintains the quality of the graphic. Very, very powerful when you're working in web applications, especially responsive web, and you want to do interesting things. I want to say navigate a model, move around it, etc. if you've developed or have the tooling to do so. So SVG is very powerful. The problem is that it's really not used in Sparx. It's meant to be able to export SVG out to be used in other platforms. Now, Sparx Prolaborate can take advantage of SVG, but when we start talking about publish to web, it really only gives you two types of image formats you can use, PNG and GIF files. You can't even use JPEG. Now there's a way to enhance this to be able to do that, but we'll save that for a much later session. Next, let's talk about image storage and management. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this model right here, and we're going to right click in here, find in browser. The shortcut is Shift Alt and G, find in browser. All right. You notice the folder structure here, solution approach, solution analysis, and then building blocks. Try to use the same hierarchy in your file storage system or your document management system. All right, when you do that. So let's go to our folder structure and take a look at it. If you look at the folder structure here in the browser, solution approach, analysis, building blocks, and then you look here in our folder structure, this is the project, images, solution approach, solution analysis, and building blocks. And in it, we have these diagrams in which we've saved for alternate uses. Now I have to talk about this next part. It's very important. If you go to settings, images under reference data, let's bring up the dialog box. Let's add new, and let's try to bring in an SVG file. So we're going to select open, and we get this error message, unsupported image type. Let's add another one. Let's bring in a PNG, get the conversation going. So any one of these is fine. PNG, bring it in. And then you can name the image. Never do this. I just want to show it because I go into some shops and they add their model images into their image library. I am deleting this. And I will usually go into their shops and delete them. As soon as I see them, I just delete them. And then if they're going to look for them, where did my image go? I deleted it, right? Never use the image library for storing your model images. Only use it for logos, icons, and small things that you want to reuse within your modeling environment. All right, so I'm going to close this, and that's the end of that conversation. All right, that's going to conclude this video. I just wanted to get it out quickly. Many of you want to save your diagrams for various reasons. Having a backup, versioning, you want to reuse and input them, embed them into Word documents, outside of Sparx, whatever the reason is. And so today we've learned how to get to that, right? So publish, save as, or the shortcut, Control T, and then go to the repository where you want to save it. We're putting these in our image. This is a design diagram. So we're going to go to design. We're going to have the model as default. We're going to choose the type that we want to use. And I'm a big PNG fan. And then we want to version this, whatever that version is right here. And let's just put in a date, whatever the date is. And now that is saved in version. So that's how you manage your models. That's how you print your diagrams or save your diagrams for use in other forms, whether that's in your Microsoft Office products, your websites. And that's where I would use SVG, is for my web development, which is going to be another video we're going to publish to web. We're going to show how images are managed and show up in Sparx Web. And we're going to build a platform of our own to actually view our diagrams, all right? And we'll get into SVG at that time. But for now you know how to save your diagrams using Control T is my favorite. Finding it in the command line up here, we're going to publish, diagram image, save, and then save to file. All right. So there you go. And until the next episode, happy modeling.